Welcome to the June 19th OpenJ9 community call. As we do every week, we'll open things up to any comments or conversation from the broader community. Okay. We're fortunate this week to have Lan with us to give us a lightning talk on TRSS. So I think we'll hand things over to her at this point and let her take on. Let her tell us about TRSS.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen then. Oh, then you probably have to start sharing. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, okay. So today I'm going to talk about the test result summary service. This is really supposed to be a thin layer sit on top of to monitor different Jenkins servers, and we have personalized dashboard, allowed user to basically looking at the build they're interested at. And this application also provides filtering, sorting, comparing, and searching features, which I will demo it shortly. And then we also provide, we store the history results, so it's easier for people to triage or even show the performance trends. We do have one instance set up in Adopt OpenJDK, and then so that's available to public. And then this position is open sourced, so that's the Git repos at Adopt OpenJDK, OpenJDK test tools. So this is just the overview of how it works behind the scene. So we have a React client, and then so in the TRSS server side, it's really just a Node.js server. And then we are doing the multiprocessor. So we have a worker called front end, which really just taking the response just respond to the client. So if there's any Jenkins, monitor the Jenkins or querying the MongoDB database. And then we have another type of worker called backend. So what the responsibility for those type of worker is really just to monitor the Jenkins server and insert data into the MongoDB database. So that's just a brief overview. Let's quickly jump into the show. So this is the server I'm talking about that's in the trss.adoptopenjdk.net. That's just monitor adopt OpenJDK. We also have one that's internal. It's behind the firewall. So it's monitoring internal server and OpenJ9. So the first view you will land on is called dashboard. So it's fully customizable. You could change it to whatever build that you're interested in. Basically, it's a checkbox and it shows you the result. This is the view, this part. So it doesn't go to the database. It just go to the Jenkins, get the client result. And then you can delete any build that you're not interested in. If you're only interested in certain things, you can fully customize it. It's really just storing the data in your local storage, local browser, local storage, so it doesn't affect others, and then you always can reset it back. For the triaging, really you need to go to the F3 test tab. That in there we have more detailed information filter out for the user. So we have, so you can see here, we're monitoring OpenJ9 Jenkins, and then the build is pipeline build test all. I call it root build because that's the first build that we just launched, and then you will launch all the build on the different platform and then the test on the different platform as well. And also you can monitor different Jenkins. So we have internal Jenkins, same test, and then personal build as well. So to look at the view, basically we have a build column that shows you the build numbers. The spinning wheel basically means that the build is in progress, so we don't have all the data yet, it's still running. And then other than that, it's just basically the status of the build, whether it's abort, which means the build is timed out or canceled, or failure or success. And then we have build results, shows you basically all the build that failed. So whether it's SDK compilation, test build failures, as long as it's a failure or abort, it's not success, then we actually show it here. And then I think the most interesting part for me or for the people that want to do triage is the test result. So if you remember a couple of weeks earlier, Renfei and Longyu demo the test kit gen, it gives you the summary of the test result. So in this view, we actually aggregate the result for all different platforms, for all different JDK versions that you run under this build. So in this case, we have 8 test failure, and we have 8,000 build that 8,000 tests that run. So if you click on it, it actually shows you either the build failures. Usually build failures meaning it's cannot connect to the machine or build crash. Unstable meaning the build completed successfully, but there's test failures. So you can either click on this, that will lead you to the test, the output. So we store it in the MongoDB database, or you can click on the link, which will lead you to the Jenkins server directly. So you can click on the information and try to navigate. And also we have the Blue Ocean view. I know some people prefer those views, so they can click and directly look in the build. And then if you look at unstable build, what it provides you, it's really filtering, categorizing different tests. Because if you look at a test build, it could run hundreds of tests. And then in this view, we'll break it down into individual tests for you. So in this case, you can clearly see there's 2 test failures. So multi-thread load test and single load test, they both failed. And then you can, we do provide a little bit of history, and then you can filter on the failed. So it will also show you the failed build. And then you can, or if you don't mind noise, then you can just see all the disabled and past failed build. You can sort on the names, or you can do the filtering on the names as well, just to find the test that you're interested. And then you can, so in this case, there's 2 failures, right? Those 2. And then if you look at all platform, what it shows you, it's really another view of cross platform and cross JDK version, right? So the test failed at 390, and on JDK 11, JDK 12, and then JDK 8. So again, you can click on the failed to look at the console output of what went wrong with the test. We do have a test compare here, but personally I feel it's a little bit harder to use. Just wait. So we have a test compare, but then you have to provide different the server, the build name, and build number and test name. So what we're planning to do in the future, having the checkbox here, so you can just say, I want to compare those failure with those failure. Then you do the console output comparison, or the pass or fail. You want to know what exactly that's different in this build. So that will help you, well, for the triage. I will also track the Java, the SHAR information in the Java version. So we hope that information will help user, because right now you're looking at the build, it doesn't show you what is the difference between the builds. So we will display the SHAR information. So if you are interested, then you can go into the Git repo, and then there's README, so you can just install the node, install MongoDB, make sure you have access to the Jenkins server, and then you can just start Mongo and then do npm start for the client and server. And I actually have, this is my local version, so I'm running it on local. In the local, I'm basically monitoring adopt OpenJDK build and OpenJ9 build at the same time. So that's just my quick demo of TRSS. Any questions? Well, if you have any questions, you can find me on the Slack, or you can talk to me offline. So the whole point of this project is just try to help people to triage, bring their, so that it's easier to spot error, and it just don't need to dig so much.
Sorry, Lan, I have a question. Simon here.
Yeah. Hi, Simon.
I noticed from your demo that you are not running the application, or you don't appear to be, from the Adopt OpenJDK website. If I wanted to actually start using this tool to triage the Adopt OpenJDK builds, which I do from time to time, how do I actually go about that?
In Adopt, we have this public server here. You can just go there. So it's trss.adoptopenjdk.net. This one actually monitor Adopt build.
Okay, yeah, good. That's what I want to know. Thank you.
Great, no problem.
Lan, is this what your team has been using so far for monitoring Adopt builds? Is like I'm wondering how often you guys use this tool, or how large the user base is at this point.
So we're using this tool from time to time to look at the test failures. So sometimes it will help me to narrow down the issue. So I don't need to click into a different build. I can see, oh, this test failed on this platform, but not the other. So those type of issues, it's fairly easy to help us. But this tool is still work in progress. We're still adding stuff into it. And then, so we're trying to refine it the way we like, based on the user case, I guess, and trying to make it more user-friendly.
I just want to poke at that a little bit further. I just want to make sure, are you ready for people to be using this regularly and as their primary means of triaging things?
I think people should start using it so we can know what is good about it and what is bad about it, so we can get feedback. If nobody uses it, then it's harder for us to narrow down the user case. Right now, people don't have anything other than the Jenkins, right? So this one provides additional information.
Okay, so that's a reminder to everybody on this call, and it might be worth posting links to this in the OpenJ9 Slack and the Adopt Slack to remind people that this tool is here and available.
Yeah, we'll welcome to any feedback so we can actually enhance the tool. For the Adopt, just one reminder. So we do add the publish name, and then I thought that could be useful for differentiate the build. For the OpenJ9, well, eventually we're going to use the Java version, so that the SHA in the Java version, so that should help. Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Lan?
What's the best way of giving you feedback? Would it be through the test channel at Adopt or some other means?
You can open issues in the Git repo, or you can Slack us in a test channel. Yeah, that both are fine.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Thank you very much, Lan, for demoing this tool for us and showing off better ways for us to be triaging the builds.
No problem. Thank you. I'll stop sharing.
Okay, I will pull the agenda back up then. Okay. So then the next thing for us to do is to take a look at the end user issues. Peter, are you on the call?
Yeah, I'm here.
I see you've opened the JDK8 tname serve doesn't run.
Yeah, I just happened to come across that, and for whatever reason, in an OpenJ9 build, it's not working properly. Seems to be some kind of permissions problem.
Okay.
So I sent it to 0.15, but probably will have to move it out to 16 immediately.
Okay. Next item here looks like a question about how to size an application using OpenJ9. So we have to provide some feedback there. The next item is around I thought we had already addressed the
So we changed the default to be 1 meg, but if you have a 128K on your command line, it'll still do that. So I think what they want us to do is maybe take whatever the users provided and round it up to the next megabyte.
Okay. The JPS problems, I believe, are being investigated, along with the permissions issues for the attach API. And then a couple of these appear more as questions than as things for us to be doing something about. So I think that brings us back to where we were last week. So there's a couple of these that we need to provide some answers to and help close out. All right. I have not had a chance to update the Docker stats in here. And given the time we are on the call, I won't pull it up now, but it's something worth checking out and making sure the numbers are going in the direction we want and at a speed that we'd like. So the next item on our agenda is the 0.15 release. We are very fast approaching that reality check date of June 18th, and we need to make sure that things that are in the milestone have been things that are in the milestone that won't close by June 24th are moved out, right, so that we're ready for the July 17 release. So again, component leads, please take a look through that milestone. I don't see anyone from the usual JIT committers on the call or and so I'll reach out to those offline just to make sure that we're getting the appropriate focus on closing out the 0.15 milestone. So for the JDK next, my understanding was the JDK 13 repo had been created. For the 0.16 release.
Yeah, it is created.
And the initial set of changes have landed in the JDK next repo to allow us to keep building and testing. Java 14.
Yeah, we haven't brought in the latest changes. Something has changed and it's causing a bunch of test failures, and I haven't had a chance to work through those and create issues, but I think we're going to have to make some test changes.
Okay. All right, I will get the dates for the 016 release added to this plan as well, as it comes much closer on the heels of the 015 release. So we'll need to be aware of what's landing there.
Yeah, so it ships in September. We'd have a code split last week of August, I think. But we can get the actual dates.
All right. Do we have somebody here from Adopt who can give us the general Adopt update?
I'm trying. So we are actually trying to rename. So OpenJ9 and test job name are renamed, and we're trying to rename the regenerate adopt test names. So those should be aligned together, so they're the same name. And then we'll change the build to trigger those newly generated job. So we just need have a draft PR, and then we just need to change the build story to trigger a new test. They're just name change. The content should be the same. And then we're still working on Acra, so that try to finalize the set of the tests that work as the initial set. So we have so I think depends on the depends on the issue how fast we can finish it. Right now we're doing the special functional, but if we can get Sanity and extended functional running for non-OpenJ9, then we'll get that in, I think.
Okay.
I think Shelley added additional Renaissance performance tests as well. She's requested a machine. There's some machine special configuration. So there's a PR for it. For additional Renaissance test.
And thank you to Shelley for having created the AQA tag so we can see which tests are part of that suite that need attention for some of the issues that have been opened.
Okay.
Are there other any other Adopt updates?
So I know there's some activity to get at least a little bit more Mac test resource machine-wise. So yes, there's one being configured at the moment, so that might help our 3-day backlog problem a little.
Okay. Did you say more Macs are being?
Yes, well, we did have some that were labeled for the JCK testing that we're no longer doing, so we're trying to redeploy that as a general test machine.
Good to hear.
Yeah, we do need more though. If we are to meet our hot on the heels of Oracle releases, quarterly releases, then we will need more for those times of intense building and testing.
Agreed. In terms of the next item on our list here, the OpenJ9, the committers team, I haven't seen much update in that bug. I've continued to monitor it. As soon as it becomes available, we'll start using it. Adam, do you want to take us through a machines update?
Sure. Okay, so not huge update again. Shelley in Toronto is still pursuing AX machines, looking at the possibility of getting Power 9s instead of Power 8s, but we would get less of them, so we're in discussion about those options. still monitoring disk usage. Not a whole lot change there. We did increase the nightly history from 10 to 30, and the Omar build history from 20 to 30. And we're now also running all the JDK acceptance, so that'll increase the disk usage too. So we're monitoring that. No concerns at this point. There's an issue that came up overnight, Monday night, with 3 machines, one each of Mac, Windows, and Cent. We're trying to figure out what's wrong with them, so we're waiting on a Jenkins restart before we debug any further. And we set up everything for the JDK 13 builds, so we're ready to go there, except for the XLC stuff. So that's all I have, unless there's any questions.
We're kind of hurting for Mac. We didn't do too well overnight. The overnight build's still running. And one of the OMR acceptance builds timed out because it couldn't get a Mac machine in time.
Yeah, so we have 4 right now.
One's disabled for tests, right?
One's disabled for testing because of that issue from this week.
Yeah, but the original one we saw problems on got re-enabled, and it seems to be working now. So I'm wondering.
Yeah, so
let's just try re-enabling 3 and see if it keeps happening.
Yeah, okay, I could run a test on it and see if it works or not.
And we'll disable.
Yes, one of the machines failed last week. One of the OS X machines failed last week, and then it magically fixed itself. So I'm kind of thinking the Jenkins restart is what we need. But I can try.
We could try restarting the agent on the machine that's not enabled for test right now.
Yeah.
And let's get it re-enabled and see if it's still a problem.
Because, yeah, out of the 4 we have, they can test anything, but you can only build 8 on 2 of them, and you can build 11 and 12 on the other 2. So it's kind of limited.
Yeah, well, I don't think we have, with the 3 machines, we're having troubles getting through all the tests.
Yeah, I agree.
Adam, do you know if there's any update on the other Macs that we were going to send to UAB?
I think Joe just keeps pinging about getting racks, and I don't think there's any update on that. He doesn't know what he can buy or where to buy it from.
Okay.
So we can talk more offline, I guess.
Yeah, that would probably be a good idea. Okay. I don't see Sue on the call, so I think we'll skip over the website design. And are there any other business that people would like to bring up?
Dan, Sue's on holiday, but I can cover the design. So I know there's been no progress, and there is a meeting scheduled for next week. And I think some of the people on this call are invited to it, yourself included.
Okay. Sounds good. Is there any other business that people would like to discuss this week? All right then. Thank you, everybody, and we'll chat again next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.